Guys, go on, come in, brother. Do you mind if we put this on film, please?
Yeah.
Yes, you do mind, or yes, we can?
You can.
Go on, what's your question, brother?
I don't really have a question. I just want to say, thank you so much for all you've done. It's been a great help to my faith, especially. I actually ran into Shamsi maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
Didn't know anything about Islam, so I'm curious. Find out more about it. So I actually went up to one of his stands.
Yeah.
And didn't have a great conversation. Well, it was quite discouraging for me because I didn't really know much about how to defend the faith.
Yeah.
I was just Christian for a decent amount of time, but he was very open about Trinity's wrong, Bible's corrupted, all that stuff. And then I basically tried to find him online to see if he's what the stuff he's done.
Yeah.
Ended up finding your videos and watched basically every single Soko video.
Oh well, thank you so much. So here's the thing. Just firstly, Soko Films is not my channel. My channel is Bob the Speaker's Corner.
Okay.
I work with JC and Soko Films, but let's just address this because there's a real problem in the church. And which cameras are on these two? Come in, brother. What's your name?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. So Lawrence is an example of a real problem in the church, which is that we are not training Christians how to defend their faith. And the reality is we're sending Christians into the world to talk about Jesus, but we're not training Christians how to defend their claims when other people come back with smart arguments about why you shouldn't believe in Jesus. And the fact of the matter is, if your fellowship is not teaching apologetics, your fellowship is part of the problem that the church is suffering. And I want you to challenge your fellowships about the importance of apologetics and demand from your pastors that they do train in apologetics. You can always reach out to me if you want to, and I'll come and teach your church how to do apologetics. Same with you, and you guys who are Christians. Go to your churches and say, I know a guy who can teach us apologetics, and I'll come and do so. Yeah. Any other questions or comments, bro?
There's a couple questions.
Are you wanting to ask a question, sister? Come in. Okay, they're filming me, so you could ask a question from there. Go on.
I was going to say, I used
Don't lean in, because we're keeping you off camera.
I was going to say, I used to be a Christian, but part of what you said is part of why I left, because I felt like the church didn't care about me.
Yeah.
And they didn't care what I believed. They sincerely did not care what I believed. I'd say something like, how is the devil the opposite of God when God can't have an opposite or an equal?
Yeah.
Things like that. They'll be like, just believe it. They do not care what I believe.
Yeah.
Now I'm Muslim. No one really cares from the church. My parents don't care. No one cares. I'm this part happily.
Yeah.
So I do feel like you're right in saying that the church is lazy in a sense in terms of defending its religion, but I do feel like even if you did defend your religion, it still wouldn't hold up. Obviously, I'm saying that because I'm Muslim now, but I do feel like the church has become lazy and it doesn't represent Christianity. When I look at the Bible and I look at church, I'm not seeing the correlation sometimes.
Yeah, so let me reply to that, sister, because it's a fair comment, and me and you are in total agreement. We've lost a sister here, precisely because the church isn't teaching apologetics. We've lost a sister here precisely because the church doesn't care to defend its borders, to look after those who are on the edges of the faith, or to learn from when it loses someone, to think to itself, we need to shut down these routes. And my invitation to you, sister, is, obviously you made a decision based upon the information you had at hand at the time. And I respect that decision. I don't blame you for entering into something that seemed well defended and leaving something that you thought was not well defended. I have no judgment of you at all. However, what I would say to you is that there is the opportunity to speak to learned Christians like myself and to go over again all the reasons why you initially left the Christian faith, to see if that decision back then, whenever it was, is a valid one, and whether you should reconsider to re-enter the faith and join a church where they actually do teach apologetics and where they do care about what you believe, because those churches do exist and I can introduce you to them. So my invitation to you, sister, is, Like, I'm not trying to force you to become a Christian, or I respect the decision that you made, and I understand your reasons for making it. But where there is opportunity to learn, it can't hurt you to learn.
Yeah.
You know,
My
go on.
stepdad, he has a degree in theology.
Yeah.
He's a Christian and he's a Catholic, so I generally talk to him. But when I talk to him, again, sometimes I can't tell the difference. Is Christianity really, quote unquote, this false, or do people not care to defend their religion? That this is the bad answer I've been given.
Yeah, and
All I get is lazy answers.
And my point to you is, sister, right? If you and me were to sit down and to go over your questions, I assure you, you would not be getting lazy answers from me. The problem is, now that you've identified yourself as a Muslim woman, I won't be able to have a conversation with you that doesn't get interrupted. But if you want to, I am happy to talk with you over Skype, talk with you through email correspondence, or speak to you on Zoom, and to go through these issues so that you can see that actually Christianity does stand up to criticism, because her Catholic uncle was unable to answer. Her Catholic stepdad was unable to give solid answers. Yeah, and he has a degree because the Catholic Church isn't teaching. Sister. So this is what I'm talking about. You've got to make the decision to exclude him from the conversation. Otherwise, he'll just interrupt us continuously. So it's up to you. I'm not going to force you to do anything. Yeah? Right? Right. So my point to you is,
Yeah, if you ask me about Islam, I'll come to you. But I'm just
my point to you is, sister, is that I just this week I received an email from a Christian who left Christianity, became a Muslim, then watched my videos on Soko Films, and has returned to the Christian faith, because just like you, the answers that he didn't get in his church and from his family, he got from me.
You have any evidence that Christian...
Now notice the interruption, notice the rudeness. I can't make this man stop. You are the one who has to stop him. Otherwise he'll just behave like this continuously. Now my point, don't. Right, so sister, right? Now notice the controlling behavior that's happening right now. You've approached me for a conversation, and people are now trying to interrupt that conversation because they know that I'm a danger to Islam. Because they know that I have made criticisms of Islam that they cannot answer, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? So, no, I'm not saying you're feeling threatened. I'm just pointing out his rude behavior. You approached me for a conversation, and now he's trying to interrupt that conversation. And he's trying to impose himself on this conversation.
Bring your priest along with you.
Yeah, go on, you ask your question.
Thomas Aquinas theology, because that's what my stepdad follows.
So
that's the main thing that...
Yeah, I don't follow it in the sense of I think that he is the only doctor of the church. However, I am happy to go along with Thomas Aquinas theology.
Okay,
So if you got any questions on that.
Like divine simplicity?
No, I don't.
Okay, then me and you can't debate, because that's like a core thing for me.
Right. So, but the problem with
That actually gets me in trouble with some Muslims as well, but I'm allowed to have that.
Right. So the problem with divine simplicity in Islam, right? For those Muslims that hold on to it, and it's not actually Sunni Muslims that hold on to divine simplicity. It's Ismailis that hold on to divine simplicity.
Ash'ari and Maturidi Muslims also follow it.
No, I don't believe that they do. But maybe you can. They don't believe in divine simplicity. The groups of Muslims that believe in divine simplicity are Ismailis and other minor sects of Shiism.
Yeah,
So you're a Shia?
no, I'm Sunni.
Okay, but mainstream Sunni Islam
Yeah, I'm aware.
believes in the attributes and the essence of Allah. Right?
Yeah.
The problem,
I'm aware, but that's mostly Ash'ari.
So as Christians, we believe now notice the interruption and notice the rudeness. Remember, sister, you approached me for the conversation. You have to ask him to stop being rude and stop imposing himself. You have to ask him to stop being rude and imposing himself.
I'll ask him when I finish asking him.
Yeah.
What's your sect
So
in
sister, in response to your
Orthodox, Protestant,
Yeah.
Catholic.
So-
Different Muslim opinions.
right. So the point is,
Which one?
that Christians believe in the essence,
What
energy
Christian are you
distinction,
talking about?
except
What Christians?
for those
Because
Christians
few of
that
them
believe in
Jesus
divine
is God,
simplicity.
few of them believe
However,
Jesus is
the
Son of
Christianity
God,
that I
Jesus is not
follow
God.
accepts that both of
the
these
ones you
descriptions of God
What Christian?
are valid descriptions of
But
God.
one is correct, another is incorrect.
Yeah, one of them. Well,
Which one is
I
correct?
mean, I would even go as far as to say that maybe someone in the future comes up with a third description that is even more accurate.
Yeah, because all of these theologies are just people trying to explain what they think the truth is, which is why I don't care if a good idea comes from an Ishmaeli or a Sunni or a Shia, because at the end of the day, everyone's working their hardest to...
The good thing, sister.
No, don't let him interrupt, sister. Don't let him interrupt. Don't let him interrupt. You were making a point, and I was trying to listen to your point. So, what was the point that you were trying to make?
Yeah, about the root of Christianity. They can, so
will you stop interrupting her?
I don't see anywhere saying be an Ishmaeli, be a Sunni, be an Ash'ari, be a Mutazilite, be a this, be a that. So, if an Ishmaeli makes a point about the God essence distinction that I agree with, I don't feel afraid to take it.
Exactly. So one of the things that we have to understand. Now notice his rudeness now. I'm talking to you in a conversation that you asked for, and now he's interrupting me.
Because you don't believe it.
So, but my point to you, sister, is firstly, you have to ask him to behave with manners. Like, he's being rude. Right. So now, because the thing is, can you hear what I'm actually saying? Can you hear what I'm actually saying? Can you hear what? Can you hear what I'm actually saying? So the point is, there's a the relationship between the philosophy of language and our descriptions of God. Christians have an understanding about the way we define doctrines, like in Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologia, in which it is like a map to a landscape. The landscape is the reality. The landscape is the reality of God's existence. The statements like the Summa Theologia are a map describing that landscape. Now, in that context, some maps are going to be more accurate than others. I've just got to move forward because you allowed him to interrupt.
No, I'm saying the camera. He doesn't want to be in the camera.
Yeah, well, but he's interrupting, so I've got to move forward so you can hear me. And because you won't ask him to stop interrupting, that's why I've got to come forward so you can hear me. Now, if you stop him from interrupting, I don't have to be as close. Well, in that case, I have to move forward. So the point is, the descriptions of doctrine that we find in the Christian faith are descriptions of the landscape like a map. And just as I'm sure you know, you can have multiple maps, and some maps are going to be more accurate than others, and some maps are just going to be completely wrong. The completely wrong ones we call heresy, and we chuck them away.
Like Gnosticism.
Like Gnosticism, like Arianism and so on. Yeah. Like, for instance, how the Muslims persecuted the Mutasilites, for instance.
What about Rastafarianism?
Well, they did Christians
so, as a
into
Christian,
Arab countries.
I don't believe that Rastafarianism is a part of the Christian faith.
What they did to Africans.
So, for instance, Haile Selassie, who is the focal point of Islamic doctrine. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to all you guys because she stopped listening. So Haile Selassie is the focal point of Rastafarian religion, and Haile Selassie was an Orthodox Christian who would have rejected Rastafarianism. Rastafarianism emerges out of the pain of the black community in the Caribbean, because due to slavery they were stripped of their identity and they were creating an identity through things like Rastafarianism.
Okay, fair enough. So the fact that you don't believe in divine simplicity, is it because you see an issue with Christianity and divine simplicity? Like, you feel like Thomas Aquinas was contradicting himself?
No.
In a sense?
That's not my reason.
Okay, what was your reason?
So the reason why I don't believe in divine simplicity is because I'm simply better educated in the essence energy distinction. Okay. And I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and really go into Thomas Aquinas' theology. However, just as I said, you know, like, you can have multiple maps. So if I gave you a map of this park, that was really detailed,
yeah, it might have some mistakes.
And then someone gave you a map of this park that you find dotted around all over the place, you can use both maps to navigate around this park, but one is more accurate than another. Okay. And that's how I navigate doctrinal differences between Christians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Because you don't know much about it, I can't really talk to you about it, but it was good to speak to you and understand you.
Well, it's really lovely to speak to you. What's your name, sister?
Chloe.
Okay, I'm going to give you a book, and
okay.
I'd like to give you a gift.
No, thanks.
Okay, if you would ever like to come and talk to me again, feel free to get in touch with me. Yeah, brilliant. God bless you. Take care. There you go, guys. No, I haven't got them on me. So there you go, guys, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're not interested. We're not interested in this child. We're not interested in this child.
I will educate you, Quran and your book, the Bible.
So what we saw, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that the Catholic Church is losing people because it doesn't teach apologetics, because it doesn't teach a firm Christian identity that people can stand upon. because it
There's
doesn't
no
encourage
Christian
Christians
can debate.
to take pride in
Trinitarians
their
are
Christian
forward.
faith, ladies and gentlemen.
Unitarian is there.
And what we've got to do, ladies and
Unitarian
gentlemen,
can debate, but not
what we've
Trinitarians.
got to do, ladies and
Jesus
gentlemen,
was not
is
a
challenge our
Trinitarian
parish
man.
priests,
He
challenge
was
our bishops,
Unitarian.
challenge
He was
our
never
pastors and our elders to teach the solidity of the soul inside the Christian as part of their discipleship. Because we lost a sister for no good reason. However, I just want to point out something. I received an email this week of a Christian who became a Muslim for the same reasons as the sister. Watched the videos on SoCo Films and then returned to the Christian faith. And he wrote to me this week to tell me. This very week, ladies and gentlemen, I was sat in a church with someone who converted to Islam for the polygamy, his words, not mine. He even went on Hajj, and he's been inside Mecca. And he came back to being a Christian because he realized
Lying.
he realized
that he was a Muslim.
that Christianity is what gives
Show me
people
evidence.
salvation.
He's a liar. Show me evidence.
And notice how this pathetic
I
troll
dare you, show
is
me
triggered by the
You
fact
show me evidence.
of my experience,
Show me
ladies
evidence.
and
Show
gentlemen.
me evidence.
Notice how he's
Show
triggered.
me evidence.
Notice how he's
Guy,
triggered.
He was a Christian. He left Christianity.
There we go, ladies and
Now
gentlemen.
he came back to Christianity.
I'm going to ignore the troll. I want to encourage all of you to ignore the troll. If there's anyone that would like to ask a question or have a conversation, let me know. I'm figuring you're standing there. Right. So, brother, I do want to have a conversation with you, but I promise this, brother. Now, notice. Do you want to listen? I'm talking to you. Look at his behaviour. Look at his behaviour. So let's stand close, because then he can't. So, I'm going to have a debate with you. I will have a debate with you today if you stay. But I promised the Unitarian brother a debate earlier, so I need to give him a debate first.
Before the debate and everything. How have you been?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright, very good.
It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
Glad you're doing well. Let me debate this, brother. It might take an hour, a bit longer. Get yourself a coffee.
I might watch it.
Okay, and then we can have a debate ourselves. All right? Okay. I promise you a debate. I'm delivering. Let's go over here. Ignore the trolls, guys. Ignore the trolls.
We'll try and keep it simple, right? Let's not really into the